Welcome back in to Varsity Focus Live. And Brandon, I caught just a brief moment of your phone conversation with Coach Swenson.
Right.
And I think even before the official interview starts, I've already have one of my questions answered.
Okay. Good for you.
You know, I told you I saw some of the video yesterday.
Right.
Of their scrimmage with Obion County. And it looks like there were some running backs on the line.
Oh, yeah, they got everybody back from last year.
No, like running backs on the line.
Oh, on the line.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So maybe
yeah.
he can clear this up for us.
Okay. Hey, Coach Eric Swenson from Huntingdon, the head coach for the Mustangs since 2008. Starting his 9th season as the head coach at Huntingdon. Coach, did you think you'd be here this long?
Coach, I'll be honest with you, Brandon. I moved here in 1990, and I thought I'm going to stay about 2 years. And then I'm bailing, going back to East Tennessee, and I've been here. This will be my 27th year of coaching. I went to Hickman County for 3, but I've lived in Carroll County the rest of the time. So, no, I never did think I would, but it's a great place to live.
So, were you offensive coordinator when you came in 90?
I was at West Carroll from 90 to 96, and when I came to Huntingdon in 96, I was offensive coordinator.
Okay. I did not know that. I didn't know that you coached at West Carroll.
I was there middle school coach for 2 years, and then high school from 92 to 96.
How good was West Carroll Middle School back in the early 90s?
Let's see. My second year there, we actually ended Huntingdon's 3-year win streak and had a heck of a year. I think we lost 1 game to Joe Longmire and the Brewston Tigers.
Oh, wow.
That's a name.
Yeah, and he was, that was his 8th grade year. And he actually, after that, we played him in a bowl game. And I'd already taken up all the equipment. And Coach Pendergrass figured you need to go play in that bowl game. And I went and played in it. We got beat. And he went on to play varsity football the next week for the high school.
Wow.
As an 8th grader.
And he started playing he didn't.
Yeah.
I don't think he started that night.
Yeah, he wasn't a starter, but he got. I don't think he played quite a bit his 8th grade year, because they're in the same school building.
Right.
So, it's kind of interesting. He was a big kid then, though.
So, and I promise in a minute we'll talk about Huntingdon football in 2016, but. There are a couple of coaches this year who are taking over the varsity programs in West Tennessee that were coaching the local middle school teams, and we've had that a few times over the last few years with mixed results. Right. Speak to us from the coach's standpoint, which, you didn't jump from middle school head coach to high school head coach,
right.
But, you still have a little bit of perspective here. Just how different is it coaching middle school and high school?
Well, I mean, I thought that I could have done it. I mean, when you're 23, 24 years old and you think, I thought, well, I just had this great season at the middle school. I know everything there is to know about football. I thought I could have done it. I don't think I could have done it. I think the planning part of it for everyday practice schedules is totally different. And I think just the difficulty of the game becomes different, I mean, and I'm not saying that it can't work, I mean, you got to start somewhere, right? It helped me to come up under Coach Pendergrass and then, of course, Coach Mansfield, to just kind of see 2 different ways of doing things. And and I still wasn't prepared when I went to Hickman County as head coach. I thought I was, but, I had times to learn, but really you just can't learn without, getting that experience. So I think it's probably more important to get underneath a good head coach and, and find out, just exactly how it's supposed to be done. And I think that helps immensely.
Right. All right. Well, let's, Greg, you got a question?
Yeah, Coach, I was looking at some of your scrimmage against Obion County Central.
Right.
And it was the first time I got to see your team this year. And it looked as if there were running backs lining up at tight end and tackle. And I was like, wait a minute, let me count. So I'm counting from the center. I was like, no, that's a guy, and he had a 20-something jersey. And I'm pretty sure there was a running back at tackle and tight end. Did Did I see that, or is that accurate?
It was probably accurate. We had to take, which we're thin up front this year anyway. You know, I think we've got 28 or 29 varsity kids, and 3 or 4 of those are hurt. All 3 of them are linemen. And so we had to take one of our blocking back and move him, Michael Arnhold, move him up to the line. So I'm sure what you saw was him. And I think at that time he was probably playing inside tackle. So we had to move him up to the line. We took backup running back and backup quarterback and moved him to tight end. You know, we've made some different moves since that time that have made us a lot better. You know, we've improved up front, and like I said, we're really thin. Our backups are starting to get better. You know, they're just all sophomores, and you know, it's a young offensive line. You know, you know, they're going to take some time, and I like what I saw against Lexington. You know, they got better and better each week, and when we played Lexington, they looked really good. I'm hoping we can build on that this week.
If I described your offense as a spread bundle, does that make sense?
Spread bundle.
Yeah.
I guess that makes a little bit of sense.
Because it's
he is one that makes up his own offenses. So
it's a shotgun formation, right, in a sense, and it's almost like an offset eye, but they're all tight. So right. How do you describe that? What do you call it?
Well, I mean, it's a hybrid single wing. It's got all the elements of an old school single wing with a modern twist on it. And that's the beauty of the offense now. And you know, we didn't make we got this offense from Apopka High School in Florida. We go down there and visit them every other year, and we'll stay with them for about a week sometimes. And they run it, and they won the state championship with it like 2 or 3 times. Mm-hmm. Of course, they're 8A, but it's an offense that I think it allows your linemen. It is very lineman friendly. Because it allows your linemen to specialize in certain plays, and I think it's running back friendly. Had we been in any other offense last year, we'd have never made it out of the first round. From what happened to us,
right?
You know, it would have been over. You know, at that point, there would have been no use in us lining up. But because if you'll stick within the offensive format, it can take care of you. You know, and you know it's not going to win you games that you just can't win, but it will at least it'll give you a pretty good chance to be competitive on the offensive side of football.
And if you got the guys to run it, if you're playing against a team that's like an explosive type offense, you know, how many times have y'all won games over the years just because you had 2 or 3 plays or 2 or 3 drives that were 10, 15, 20 plays even, right, and just ate time off the clock?
Well, you know, that's what I've been fortunate to talk at a couple of clinics, and whenever we do, that's one of the things that our staff, we believe in, is that there is more than one way to win a football game. And in today's, you know, there's like a video game arcade out there where you've got guys who are just, you know, they're really just, you know, they're scoring tons of points, and they're throwing the ball and they're fast paced. Well, you know, it's kind of nice to throw them a curveball every now and then and really sit there and milk that clock and see if you can't cause a little bit of panic.
Right.
So if you're capable of doing that, that this offense will allow you to do it. But what I also like about it, you know, if you've got the guys that can do it, you know, you can spread it out and stick within the framework of the offense, and it's just as effective. And you know, we can go 4 wide, we can go empty, we can bunch it up back there and run single wing, and it all sticks within the framework of the offense, and the kids understand it.
Have you been able to fit the Notre Dame box in there yet?
Yeah, we could do it. We had to, but yeah, it's a little bit. You know, I've seen a good buddy of mine, Scott Courtney, who coaches at Chester County now. He's a big Notre Dame box guy.
Really?
Yeah, he loves it.
I may have to go watch Chester County, because a team that I covered at the first paper I worked at down in Alabama, they ran it, and I've never heard of it. I had never heard of it before then. I hadn't heard of it since. Actually,
well, I don't think that Scott runs any of it now at Chester County, but I know that when he was at Riverside, they run it, and you know, he's actually he goes to a single wing clinic every year up in Pennsylvania, and he just loves it. You know, he's actually the one who told me about Apopka.
Okay.
Several years ago, so yeah, they're still out there. There are people that still do it.
Yeah. Kind of getting back to the line for a minute. How much does it change your whole approach to not just a specific game, but the entire season to go from having the line that you had last year, where you got a guy now that's in the SEC and apparently doing well in preseason camps and stuff with Sedarius Hutcherson, and he wasn't even really the best player on your team, or at least the most productive player on your defense last year on the line. You go from having that kind of a line to what you have this year. How much does that change the whole year for you?
Well, I think last year we had so many things that we could do that made us because our line was so good. We could do things that we didn't even show. We had things that we didn't show, that we were kind of holding back until we got to the district championship game.
Yeah.
And I mean a bunch of stuff, that we could do because that line was so experienced. Those guys have done it for basically 2 years. And it's just when you come in with a new line like this, you really just have to simplify things down, and you have to understand that they don't have the same amount of reps that the other people have had in it. You just have to really go back to square one. And, as long as they work and they understand it just takes a lot of work. We're fortunate I got two good offensive line coaches, in Miller and Lucas Deal. And those guys have, they've just taken a lot of time, and the kids have got to be diligent with it. Players have got to be diligent. And the fact that, hey, look, you may be staying active today, and we may need to do a little extra film work. We may need to do a little extra work on the field when everybody else is going in. And you just got to be willing to do that. And good teams and good linemen will be willing to do it.
Knowing that having a line like this was a possibility this year, when you were making the schedule out 2 years ago, was there any kind of intentionality of having a game against Camden that you start your season with this Friday, followed by a game against Milan in a couple of weeks? By a game against McKenzie, where those are good teams, but it doesn't affect whether or not you go to the playoffs. And then really the one that everybody's kind of pointing to in your region play, Wayne County, is in late October. You're able to are these early games going to help you build the depth on that line, hopefully, if you don't get them all hurt?
Yes, and that's the key, is not getting them all hurt, because I've got a couple I've got 2 or 3 guys that can pass their possible good linemen right now, they're out. If they come back, we won't do anything but get better.
Right.
But if we start having losses, now you're talking about freshmen coming. And then things are going to get really hairy. And it's not really, it's just one of those things. We're probably in your 1A division. You might be able to compete with throwing in some freshmen here or there. Everybody has to do it. But, when you're talking about going up against Milan and Camden and McKenzie, you're talking about guys who are, we're going to trot 25 varsity players out there Friday night, and they're going to trot about 80.
Right.
And, if they hang on, they'll do nothing but get better. We saw it every week during the preseason. I had O'Brien. We hadn't blocked anybody yet. We still scored a bunch of points because our backs are really good. The second week against Scotts Hill, I don't, we did a 10-play scrimmage. I come away from that thinking we may never block anybody. And then all of a sudden, I thought against Lexington we looked really good. And, I'm hoping that gives them some confidence, and maybe they'll get even better this Friday night. But, yeah, you're right. If they survive it, they get better. You either get better or you get the brakes beat off of you.
Coach, you mentioned that O'Brien scrimmage. I think I saw 3 different guys. I won't say line up at quarterback, but there were 3 different guys take direct snap on that first drive.
Right.
Talk about those guys.
Well, I've got, the backfield basically returns. I've got Dylan Johnson, who, to me, he's probably the most, it's like nobody knows about him. And part of it is because he got hurt. He was right at 1,000 yards and played in the second half of one game last year, I think, maybe 2, I don't know.
Yeah.
but he never played a full 4 quarters that I can remember until he went down. And so Dylan to me is just he's one of the best I've ever had. I'll put him up there with anybody. Strong, fast, smart. Yeah, big kid that can block and run and throw. Tate Pearson's the other one. He's a junior. He's a big, strong, thick kid that can throw the ball. He's got great speed for a kid his size. He's more of a grinder, but he can also get you outside. And he's right. He was right at 1,000 yards when he got hurt. I want to think it was 990 or something like that. So he's another dual threat kid that can throw running right or left. And then the other one is Zach Dotson, who was 1,200-yard rusher last year, I believe, and he was our district back MVP. He just happened to be he happened to survive last year, and he's not as big as other two, but he's very shifty. He's got excellent speed. Just a extreme competitor. Got great hands, can catch a football, makes great cuts, and those 3 guys. All 3 can step in the backfield and take snaps, and we've got a kid named Tyrese Mason who's extremely talented and can run the football, play receiver. Keaton Bailey stepped in and played quarterback last year. When the other 2 went down, he's a wide receiver, got great speed, great hands, very talented. And,
he's one of the best defensive backs in the area too.
Yeah, and he can play. He can play football, and he's just he's a talent. And then you've got our blocking back moved from he was at Brewston 2 years ago, Amarion Gordon. And, and he can fly. I mean, this kid can go. And but right now he has to play blocking back. But we're going to try to work it in because he can carry the rock and he can play. He's as fast as any of the rest of them. So we've got those guys. Those guys are back there, and we're just trying to, if we can get it going up front. I think we'll be in the thick of it at the end.
Coach, we had Shane Jacobs on here last week at Peabody, and we spent a little time talking about some of the other teams and talents in his county. I want to ask you about that running back at Bruce and Hollow Rock.
Xavion.
Yes, sir. Tell us a little bit about him.
Oh, he's a man. That son of a gun is thick. He's blazing fast. I seen him at Walmart. He's a real polite kid, He always talks to you when he sees you. He's as good a running back, as I've seen in a while. I mean, he's just a really tough kid.
Mm-hmm.
I think coming out of middle school when I saw him run, I knew he was really, really fast. I didn't know how tough he was, but I'm telling you, I've seen him in film. He'll lower that shoulder. And he's a physical runner. And he's a real deal, I think.
Well, Coach, one last question for you, then we'll let you get back. But y'all didn't play last week. You've got the first game this week. You don't have the bye week, or once the season starts, you don't have the bye week. I guess technically you had your bye week last week. Just kind of what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, I think I would rather it worked out all right for us last year. I think I've never liked the bye week. It seems like every time we play after a bye week, we don't look very good. I mean, I'm talking about like in the middle of the season. I mean, you get all ramped up and you get on this routine, and I come in on Monday, and it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, walk through Thursday, play Friday. Well, then all of a sudden you're in the middle of the season and you're rolling. The next thing you know, you've got an off week. Mm-hmm. And to me, that is always, I mean, don't get me wrong, for players and coaches, it seems really nice because you get a little breather right there. You get a chance to kind of, breathe in a little bit and try to, kill some injuries and all that. Mm-hmm. But I got to be honest with you, I think that once I get started, I just soon keep rolling. It seems like if you get any kind of momentum built up, I always felt like that off week kind of killed us. So. Mm-hmm. I also think that during those off weeks, because like right now, like we got Camden coming up. Well, I've got a couple of scrimmage films of Camden, and I mean, if I'm in the middle of the season I'm going to have every film Camden's got.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to tend to overanalyze. If we're going to put too much stuff in during the off week, and next thing you know, we're not good at anything. I think that's what happens to a lot of teams.
Mm-hmm.
But, now, the only thing I hate is that we didn't get to go up under the lights last week, and that's always scary for a coach. That's why we did that through a jamboree election. It's always scary going into that first week. They've got all the wrinkles ironed out. They've done their kickoff team, their kickoff return, their extra point. They've done all that stuff under lights and game condition, and we can't simulate that. With the number of kids that we have, it's just hard to simulate that without actually doing it. And so you just hope that doesn't cost you anything on Friday night because you've not been able to dress rehearse it. But I like it better where I can just go straight through and just keep playing.
Right.
No off, no break.
All right, Coach Swenson, I want to thank you for your time. I have one question for you.
Okay.
Brandon's my co-host, so we're buddies. I'm going to ask this question for him. I was reading the Jackson Sun preseason annual, which is a great magazine if you hadn't got it yet. So they talk about traditions, and Huntingdon has the Victory Bell.
Huntingdon's Victory Bell is actually the inspiration for all these tradition stories. I want to throw that out.
So I want to know if can my buddy ring the Victory Bell the next time he's in Carroll County?
If we win, yes.
Well, I was actually, the guy who's covering y'all's game this week, he was feeling bad because I think he's only covered one game when he's covered y'all, and I was like, well, they've only won one game when I've covered them too. That's why I didn't know about the Victory Bell until you told me about it back during the off season. So
right.
How about when I come cover you, you win, so I can go ring him.
Yeah. That thing's it was up above school like you wrote about in there, and they moved it down to the field house. I think that's been one of the best things.
I just like the look of that.
Yeah, it's just kind of neat. It's a tower, and it's got a tunnel we walk through, and we were blessed to have that done. With Miss Pat and the school board got that done for us. I think it's neat. I think it's a neat tradition. I thought that when I moved here in 1990 and I wasn't coaching here, I thought that was kind of. In our middle school, they have their own bell that they've had. That's the original one is over at the middle school. That tradition starts when they're in the 7th grade.
Okay, yeah, that was one question I had when y'all moved it. Did y'all move the actual bell from in front of the school into the tower?
The original bell is still over at the middle school.
Okay.
It's never changed, and they will. They play their games at the high school now, but as soon as they get there, they pull that bus over, and them kids line up at that bell, and they start ringing it.
Awesome.
That's going on as long. I've heard stories like from friends of mine, no coach here, that people would be at home, and they'd hear that bell ring, and they knew Huntingdon had won. Back in the 40s and 50s, or however long it's been doing it. So, it's right there in town. It's kind of neat.
Yeah. All right. Well, Coach, appreciate it. Good luck Friday night, and hopefully, hopefully for y'all, and my guy won't feel bad about and that Huntingdon will be able to get a second win, but also good luck to Camden as they're playing y'all. So, have a good game
I appreciate it. Thank y'all for having me on.
Thanks, Coach.
See you, Coach.